What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we are locked in. This is episode 19 of All American and y'all gonna have to bear with me. I went to go get a COVID test yesterday because I woke up and my nose was stuffed. I'm like, oh, here we go. But it came back today. It's negative. I am fully vaxxed, but y'all just gonna have to bear with me with this nasty voice. Well, we know last week in All American, the kids, they're still trying to figure it out. We see that Jordan and Simone, they're not going to be together anymore because it only makes sense. She was going to go to school and wild out anyway. But before we get into this episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you'll be a part of this. Hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, this week, this is episode 19. We know we got to have the state football game. We know the school is on the line. Principal Carter kind of rearranged some things. We're going to see how these boys do out in Crenshaw. This is episode 19 of All American. There is a lot of weird stuff going on. So we're getting flashes of something that went on. And we see Spencer getting clocked early. I'm talking about. And y'all know Spencer ain't really no fighter. He'll do a lot of talking, but he ain't no fighter. We see Coop on the tour bus. It looks like it's getting pulled over. We see Asher in the locker room mad as hell, throwing his pads on the ground. We see Layla's dad calling her, but the phone is in the trash can. So it's a lot of stuff going on. And after all this, they rewind us back because we need to figure out, what did we just watch? Now, people be hitting me up. You didn't talk about, how do y'all say it? Spellivia, whatever it is, Spencer and Olivia. And I'm like, hey, man, they haven't officially came out. And now they're talking about it. And she's like, no one knows because we haven't officially came out. He's like, well, I called Layla because I didn't want anyone else to tell her about us. But she hasn't called me back. So we knew that this was coming since episode 1 in season 1. We knew this was coming. And now it's here, people. Liv and Simone, they started getting closer to each other. We know when they went on the college tour, they were out hanging together. And Simone's been telling her, you need to go after what you want. And what she wanted was Spencer. Now, the thing is, she tells Simone, this probably isn't a surprise to you, but me and Spencer are together. I just don't want to hurt Asher and Layla. And they're like, that's already been, you know what I'm saying? Asher's messing with an old girl, and Layla, she's on the road. She's making moves. No one's really caring about you guys being in a relationship. So you guys hide it is just because that's what y'all want to do, but no one really cares. We already knew that this was going to happen. Coop, she's about to go back on tour. We know that Preach, he can't go. He's in charge of merchandise. He's the manager, but he's giving all this to Andre. And he's like, this is your shirt. Andre's going to have to handle all that. She's like, what am I supposed to do? Because y'all not going to be on the road with me. They like, man, you'll figure it out. Hang with Andre. Preacher's like, I wouldn't hang with him, but you can hang with him. So Coop, she's looking at it like, man, I got to go finally do something on my own because she's been so dependent on Layla setting things up. And also with Coop being the manager, he's supposed to handle things. I called him Coop Preach. Asher's out eating with his dad. And we already know how Asher's dad is. We're kind of iffy on him. You know, he be making moves and he's like, damn, are you really a dad? Because he be on some weird stuff. But Asher gets a phone call and he picks it up and it's Carolina Coastal head coach. And it turns out, hey, Ash, we want to give you a full scholarship. His dad's like, hell yeah, hell yeah. Like, now you care because your son doing good. We just going to cut all the BS. Spencer comes in the house and like, what is going on? Because Billy only shows up as either good news or bad news. Well, the good news is Spencer is actually an All-American. He's going to play in the All-American game. Hey, big salutes, man. It took us some years to get here, but we finally made it. One thing we know about Fausto is going to hate no matter what. But he has a good, valid point. He goes in the coach's office like, all right, coach, we're going to hit the showers. All right, why are you telling me that? Go take a shower. But he comes in and Billy's listening to the interview that Spencer's giving about All-American, becoming an All-American. And Fausto's saying, hey, coach, we got a state championship game. Why is our best player on there talking about that? And Billy's like, well, he didn't skip practice. I gave him this day off. He should have did that during school hours or after practice. This state championship game is more important than him making All-American. But come on, man. At some point, Billy, you got to put the team before the players. But Fausto, he's just like, man, all right, coach. Y'all listen to me and listen to me carefully. Coach comes over to Beverly Hills' team huddle and tells them, look, this is our last full practice. We're going 40 minutes full contact before a state. 40 minutes full contact with the first team. Come on, that's asking for an injury. Stay off the ankles, people, but that's asking for an injury, coach. These should just be 70% walkthroughs. I'm talking about just shoulder pads and helmet, no pants. You just run through it. She talking about full contact. And oh, Jordan, you're not first team. JJ is still our number one right now. We are going into the state championship game with JJ. That's what I would have said. With JJ, that's my dog, but we trying to win. And to play against Crenshaw, we gonna need some talent at that quarterback spot. And what did she say? We gotta put the team before the players, and we're gonna go with JJ. I just told y'all, Billy, you need to put the team in front of the players. And Jordan was like, well, we're gonna go with JJ? That's not the best decision for the team. I should be a quarterback coach. I should be a head coach, because I'm calling all this stuff like, man, this is the obvious, people. Come on, we trying to win. The very first play, Asher goes up for an interception and they stick him. He on the ground all hurt. What did I just say about a 40-minute full contact before state? This coach needs to be fired. And y'all need to go ahead and sign a petition to get Mo as the head coach at Beverly Hills, because this nonsense would not happen on my watch. Crazy Carrie, that's what we're gonna call her CC. We know she's been lying about a few things, but she's asking Layla, hey, I heard your dad has a vacation house at Tahoe. We should go up there after you do your finals. But Layla, she's thinking, I have an artist on tour, so if I do these finals, I'm gonna be back over my artist. But she does call Carrie out and says, you should go meet up with your family, because she's trying to separate themselves from each other, because everyone's like, hey, you gotta be careful with Carrie. And she called Carrie's parents. It turns out Carrie's lying. Carrie ran away. The family actually wanted her and was embracing her. So now she's trying to flip it and make Layla feel guilty. You know how it is with parents, with your dad being the way he is. And Layla, she's just falling for it. And Carrie, she says some weird stuff. Oh, I'm so glad it's me and you. We have each other. Layla's thinking, yeah, this girl really is crazy. Of course, JJ and Jordan, they get into it. Now, Asher brings up, hey, you heard Spencer? He's going to be an All-American. Jordan, you would have been All-American if you didn't get hit like that, man. You were on your way for it. And then JJ comes around talking about, well, if I would have started last season, I would have been there. So now we have these two. They squashed their beef. Now they're bringing it back up. Well, you're my backup. I'm 100%. And he's like, well, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have won last week. So these two, they going at it over the same silly stuff. Like, y'all are boys. Try to win this thing. If y'all gonna work together, it's gonna work out so much easier than y'all two beefing and you stand on the sideline with your hands on your shoulder pads like this, looking like, dang, JJ's starting and I'm just on this bench. Come on, man. Squash this nonsense. And Jordan starts talking to Asher. Asher's like, calm down. And Jordan's like, well, I'm in the best shape of my life, man. Me and Spencer, we ran through the whole offensive playbook. Asher's looking like, man, you went through the whole offensive playbook with Spencer and he's going to be on the other team that we're playing against. He ain't say nothing here, but that's what he's thinking. Like, man, this is worse than me giving the playbook to the other team. Oh, Jordan, come on. Grace throws an amazing All-American party for Spencer. Guess where we're at? The Crenshaw Cafe. Because that's the only place we party at in Crenshaw. But at this point, everybody's like, man, Grace did a hell of a job up there. And I'm like, yeah, she did do a good job. Salute to Spencer. Now, Spencer and Olivia, they've been going back and forth on, do they want to come out to the public and tell everybody that they're together? Spencer tries to get a kiss. Liv, she kind of pulls back. And he's like, well, look, what better place to announce that we're together? Jordan, Simone, come over here. And they're holding hands like this. Jordan's like, okay, what news do y'all want to tell us? And Simone's like, obviously they're holding hands. They're together. I bet Jordan was thinking, she might be pregnant. Nah, Jordan, they're just dating. Asher, he got x-ray on his ribs. Now they rich up there because the injury just happened and he got x-rays and they already told him, oh yeah, you're fine to play. Now where I'm at, you get an x-ray, you probably ain't gonna get no news back for 2 or 3 days, but that's just how it is in the black community. But he goes in, he tells the coach, I heard something that I can't unhear, and Jordan's been practicing with Spencer. She's like, before he was cleared. Yeah, I don't want to be a snitch, but we need to change that playbook or come up with some variations, like line people up a little bit differently, because Spencer, whether he wants to or not, he's going to know our plays. And she's like, all right, cool. I'm going to come up with something. And, you know, Asher being a team player, can I help? She's like, why not? Billy shows up in Billy fashion late to the Crenshaw Cafe, and he's just talking to his son because his son's ecstatic about Spencer making it to an All-American game. Now, Billy says, I got this letter. It went to Beverly Hills, but then it was forwarded to me, so I got it late. Why don't you go ahead and open it? Now, mind you, it already looks like it's open. Jordan opens it, And guess what? He made the All-American game. They had enough film on him throughout the season to be like, hey, he can be an All-American. He's a reserve, but he's still an All-American. That's better than nothing. It's always good to see Spence and Coop back on the same page and being brother and sister, like, you know what I'm saying, super close friends. Now, Coop, she has to get on the road, and she's just talking to Spence and like, man, this is what you always dreamed of since we were little, to be an All-American and to go off to play college football. Well, he's living out his dream and she's living out hers. She's becoming a rapper. So it's good that they got this relationship back together and they hug it up and go on about their way. We got a special guest appearance from Deshaun Jackson now. Boy, this man was a nice football player on the field. He played for Crenshaw. He was an All-American, went up to Philly, one of the fastest, nicest receivers you'd see. And he just came in here to congratulate Spencer. Like, man, you've been holding down Crenshaw. You got to hustle. You got to work hard, nonstop. Because if you want to make it to the next level, this All-American game is just another step. All right. Deshaun, hey, he worked his tail off from his injury and came back. If you don't know about Deshaun Jackson, look him up. One of the flyest Eagles to ever play. Billy is talking to Spencer. He's like, man, I just wish you were still at Beverly to look out for my son. Now, Spencer, he just comes clean. Well, I have to tell you, I actually been training with Jordan for the last couple of weeks because if I didn't, he was going to do it anyway. Now, Billy is upset because Jordan wasn't cleared from the concussion protocol. Now, when you have a concussion, any contact, okay, you can't do it. But if you just throwing the ball a little bit, you'll be all right with that. But Billy, he's like, man, you risked my son's future, and I wouldn't expect that from you. And then to throw gasoline on the flame, Liv comes over and says, hey, Dad, guess what? We got to tell you something. And Billy's like, oh, brother, Spencer, you really let me down. First, you put my son in jeopardy, and then you're dating my daughter. Oh, man, it's about to be a rough week. Billy comes over. He's sitting down talking to Jordan. Jordan's trying to tell him what happened yesterday. He's not trying to hear that. You know what could have happened if you risked that? Come on, Jordan, you got to be smarter than this. But Jordan flips the whole situation. That's my thing about All-American. The parents aren't parents on here. They're more like best friends. Jordan's saying, well, what's the difference between you gaming the system to bring Spencer up here to go to school? What's the difference between you fixing the drug test for me? What is all this? I learned this from you, Dad. We need to do everything we can to try and win. Billy just sitting there with his arms crossed, looking upset. Like, come on, Billy. Don't let your son talk to you like this. You already let your daughter run off with a wild man named Spencer. Handle this like a father should. Liv and Layla, they meet up at the studio and they're actually talking, but Layla kind of calls Liv out. You don't have to pretend to be my friend or anything like that. We good. You like, it's cool. But they bring up Carrie and Layla's saying, I talked to Carrie's family and she just seems unstable at this point. And Liv is telling her exactly what all of us been telling her. You got to back off from Carrie. First thing you got to do is get her up out the house. Liv ain't say that, but that's my recommendation. Get her out the house and start distancing yourself. But Layla, being the friend and caring person that she is, she says, I'm the only person she has. So if I just let her go, then what's really going to happen to her? But at this point, you gotta let her go back to her family. You're not her guardian or anything. Coop got to go on this road by herself. Now, Patience, she's always been there for Coop. Now, they did have a little discrepancy in their disagreement when she was trying to get on and do her own music thing. But at the end of the day, they have a close relationship. And Coop is trying to convince Patience, instead of just coming for a weekend while I'm on tour, come the whole time and be on stage with me. And Patience like, are you sure? So they have an idea to release something called Family Over Everything. I don't know if it's a brand, if it's a label, but they want to do something called Family Over Everything. And being on the road together with Patience coming on the stage, what better way to promote it? Billy's on another page right now. Now, Spencer's on the phone with Liv. The whole team is getting on the bus. We about to head out. He's just in the middle of the hallway talking to her. Oh, you told Layla about us? What did she say? Billy goes, Spencer, get on that bus now. He's like, oh, I gotta go. Like, hey, what are you doing, man? Get off that phone. It's game day. You shouldn't be talking to nobody. You should be getting focused for the game, brother. Andre's in here doing the Coop merchandise checklist. Okay, Coop t-shirts, check. I don't really know. It doesn't look like he knows how to read. And Mo comes up behind him and tells him, Dre, it's time. He's like, oh, okay. Oh, man, Dre about to mess something up. Layla and Crazy Carrie. Now, Crazy Carrie, she ain't worried about nothing. She wants to go to Tahoe. She wants to hit the ski slopes. But Layla's like, all right, well, cool. we need to, at least talk to your parents and just see where it is. And Carrie, we know she lies. She changes up everything. So she's saying, well, would you at least come with me? And Layla, what she's doing is she's pretty much tricking her. Like, yeah, let's go meet them first, and then we'll go hit the slopes. She's really trying to get her over there and trying to leave her. Like, all right, y'all got Carrie. I'm going to get up out of here. But look at Carrie's little smirk here. We know she's up to something. Oh, I just don't trust her. They show up to the game. They never, ever have the buses pull up next to each other. Two rival teams going to state. They going to pull up on this side. Y'all going to pull up on this side. Y'all not going to be this close. Now, Spencer, they get off the bus and they look over and they see JJ and Jordan getting into it. And Spencer's like, come on, let's go over there. First of all, you're not going to interact with this other team. And if you do, it's usually going to be bad news. So security and the coaches would never let this happen. But they're arguing about Jordan potentially giving up all the plays to Spencer when they were training. This turns from All-American football to Gossip Girl, and these guys are going at it. Hey, man, Spencer, you've been training him. Jordan, you was with him giving our plays around. Hey, JJ, you look like a Chippendale dancer. Hey, who are you? I don't know, but who are you? And everybody just going back and forth. Jordan talking about, I trusted you, man. You told my dad. So this must be where the fight at the beginning where Spencer was getting rocked began. Now, none of these tough guys, none of these tough guys from the street or none of that. They talking about, who you calling a snitch? He's like, I'll call you a snitch again because, man, you told on me. JJ hits Fausto, takes a good one. Jordan gets into it with Spencer, and the fight begins. My thing is, where's the bus driver who's usually a part of the school? Where's any of the coaches? It's just 40 kids out here on both sides just scrapping. There's no security, no adults, no nothing. It's just, hey, have at it. I'm talking about everywhere you look and they grappling. Everybody's throwing knockout punches. Whenever somebody gets hit, all you hear is, oh, and they like fall across the floor. They fall into the bus. Asher's trying to break it up. Chris is trying to break it up, and then they getting hit. So it's just fights everywhere. Now, me personally, if we got into a scrap like this with somebody else, especially another team, I'm taking that helmet because when you out there fighting in the streets, ain't nothing fair. And I'm coming across, well, back out. But that would probably get me suspended from the game and ruin my career. So I wouldn't have did that. I would have been throwing them hands though. But right when I seen a coach, oh yeah, I'm dipping because I'm not going to be part of this crap. Let me tell you how wild this is. Fausto gets up. He pushes Spencer into the bus. Spencer elbows him, knocks him down. Jordan comes over it, knocks Spencer out. JJ grabs Jordan, spins him around, and knocks Jordan out. So I'm talking about everybody's getting hit with haymakers. I'm like, oh my goodness. We already know Billy and Montez is about to, hey, this isn't what we do. Man, come on, y'all. Where the coaches at? Did I call it? After Jordan and Spencer on the ground laying, looking at each other with bleeding lips, Montez and Billy both come over there. Hey, what are we doing? Break it up. Y'all let these dudes fight for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm talking about straight blows, haymakers, and now y'all want to break it up? Look at this coach back here. He ain't trying to break up nothing because he just like, man, all right, y'all got it. Come on, man. Andre's packing up. He's putting all the boxes in here, and Coop's like, hey, why don't you have a t-shirt on? You the merch guy. Oh, I'll put one on when we get to Vegas. She said, all right, well, you ready? Let's get on the bus. He's talking about, oh, no, when I get on big buses, man, I get stomach get the rumble. She's like, this ain't a big bus. You know what I'm saying? This is a private bus. He said, oh, I rode on the Metro before. But he's saying, I already have my car packed up. Now, we've seen in the beginning, the bus was getting pulled over with Coop on it. So I'm thinking, hey, man, there might be drugs in these boxes. He calls the cops, and they pull over the bus, and they doing a little inspection. And he isn't on here. But that's just my little theory because we know Mo don't play fair. Not me. I'm talking about Mo on the show. Shout out to the real Spencer James right here. But both teams, Beverly Hills, Crenshaw, they're having talks about their coaches. And it's the same thing. This was our chance to make something. Our state championship. We could potentially forfeit this. Now, when you look at the teams, it's what, maybe 10, they probably got like 20 and 20, which really isn't enough it's enough 11 and 11, but it ain't enough. But they're talking to the teams, and we already know what's happening here. You guys, y'all gonna have to squash this, and we're gonna have to play football the right way, people. Both of the coaches, they come together. Now, they kind of throw little jabs at each other. Montez is like, my team looked like they survived the bus crash, but they won the fight. Now, Billy said, nah, we won the fight. But what he's trying to get Montez to understand is, look, we can't take this away from the kids. They work so hard on it. But her stance is, these rules are in place for a reason. And they're trying to come to an agreement on, should we let the kids play? Because this is what they worked on. Billy brings up, man, if it wasn't for Spencer, I don't know what path he would have went on in life. Like, football changes a lot of kids' lives, especially the ones in Crenshaw, when all they have is the streets and football. Now, it may be different up in Beverly Hills because they have more opportunity, but he's like, let's just say that it was over exaggerated. The maintenance team, the maintenance people, they're just lying about it. And that's exactly what they tell the head ref. Oh, it was just exaggerated. It was just a couple of trash talk from each side. But other than that, let's play ball, ref. We have to go meet Crazy Karen's parents. I called her Karen. Crazy Carrie's parents. But she's over here writing a note. And Layla's like, are you ready? So it looks like she may be leaving a note for Layla's dad. 'Cause we seen at the beginning, there was a phone in the trash can saying dad. So let's see how this turns out. Just as I expected, Andre put something up under there and he called the cops. Now they get pulled over and Coop, she like, whoa, the DEA agent comes on talking about, we got a tip that this bus is carrying narcotics. One thing we do know is Coop is gonna tell because Coop is a snitch. And we ain't forgot that everybody at school was hating on her because, well, I won't say they was hating on her because Coop is a snitch. So you know them drugs ain't mine, them Andre's. Mo must have did it. She about to start telling on everybody. Coach Montez brings the team together. I'm disappointed in you. Let's not forget that, but we're going to play tonight, and we're going to make up for whatever y'all messed up. She calls Jordan over, and she says, you and JJ, y'all going to be splitting snaps. We're going to have some variations to the, to the playbook because Spencer may know it. So be ready, but just make sure your timing is good. Now, Jordan got this messed up eye over here. He's going to be out there playing like this. Let's see what they can do. Somehow, Asher's dad sneaks into the locker room minutes before kickoff and tells Asher, hey, you can't play. And Asher's like, nah, my ribs are good. He said, well, they took an x-ray and you have a heart condition and you can't play football. Coach Montez is like, what? What's going on here? And Asher's like, I gotta play. Now, when they took this x-ray, I don't know why they took an x-ray of his chest, if it was his lower ribs that got hit. I don't know, but he can't play. Oh, man, that's sad. I was right. The letter that Crazy Carrie left was to Layla's dad. Me, the world has failed me. I don't need you anymore. I'm free now. No more fleeting moments of happiness. I found the permanent answer. I get to leave you forever. And I don't have to do it alone. Layla will be by my side. We have each other. See. So Carrie wrote this to Layla's dad saying that Layla's going to run away with her. Come on now. And that's why he's calling Layla, because he's like, whoa, wait a minute. You ran off with Carrie? What is this about? She didn't put the phone in the trash can. Come on now. One thing about teenagers, they never leave the house without their phone, especially if she's getting in the car driving. You know, she got music, she got GPS or something. So she's going to have her phone because that Bluetooth is going to automatically connect. And if you ain't got that phone, then it ain't. So you're like, oh, shoot, where my phone at? Even Layla says, I can't believe I left my phone at home. Please, I would have skirt. We would have been turning back and around to get my phone. First of all, I got a business. I got friends. I got a life. I need some music. I'm not about to just be riding with you, Carrie. No. We're going to go get my phone. But Carrie says the same thing. Oh, you don't need your phone. We got each other. And Layla's just like, you're right. Hell no, I'm getting my phone. So that's the reason why we seen Asher crying at the beginning. Montez is there, she's crying too, but she wipes her tear because she got to go coach the rest of the players. But he's crying because his whole dreams of playing football and going to college, they're gone now. It's unfortunate, but injuries do that. It's time for the big game. And they got the two teams lined up next to each other, which they would never do. But they got them lined up. Jordan looks over at Spencer. Spencer looks at him and JJ, and it's like, oh, it's on now. But we know Spencer, he has a big heart. So for him, he's like, man, I want to keep my friendship with them. Forget all that. That friendship will come after the game. Right now, our job is to whoop them boys. I told y'all, Coop got on that bus. Them cops came. She said, I'm telling everything. Them drugs wasn't mine. But it turns out she knew Andre was up to no good. So she moved all the drugs off of the bus before they even left. Now she goes to Mo's house and she's like, oh, you surprised to see me? And Mo pulls a gun on her. like, oh man. Cooper saying, hey man, look, I'm sorry about Tyrone, but you killing me ain't gonna bring him back. So she's still pulling the gun and she lets it down, and then Cooper's like, all right, so we good now? Mo picks that gun back up and all you hear is pow, pow. Oh, 2 shots go off. You're like, man, what the hell? Preach and kill this baby mama, people. Pow, pow, shot Mo. I'm like, damn, okay, Preach. You want full custody. Take that G-Wagon too. But that second gunshot was Mo's gun and it caught our girl Coop. Damn. There you go, All-American, man. Who do y'all think won that state championship game? Do you think Mo or Coop is going to survive this? Let me know what y'all think below, man. This is a cool little ending to the season. But let me know what y'all think. I'm MoedotJ. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.